What if I told you that a single military campaign during the American Revolutionary War could change the course of history? Now imagine the year is 1779. Amid the fervor of revolution, a strategic military campaign is about to unfold in upstate New York. This is the Sullivan Expedition, a pivotal moment in the American Revolutionary War and a turning point in the northern theater of conflict. The man at the helm is Major General John Sullivan, tasked with a daunting mission. His objective? To neutralize the threats posed by Loyalists and the Native American alliance, particularly the formidable Iroquois Confederacy, whose loyalty to the British Crown was a significant hurdle to American control of the region. Sullivan's strategy was twofold: disrupt British supply lines and dismantle the Native American alliance by destroying their villages, crops, and resources. It was a high-stakes gamble, one that would test the mettle of Sullivan and his troops. So buckle up as we dive deep into the Sullivan Expedition, a campaign that shook the foundations of the Iroquois Confederacy. Imagine assembling a force of over 4,000 soldiers in the rugged wilderness of eastern Pennsylvania. That was the daunting task that Sullivan faced. This was no ordinary force. It was an amalgamation of Continental Army soldiers and militia from various states. Their mission? To penetrate deep into enemy territory, traversing the hostile terrain of upstate New York. The stakes were high. They were to disrupt British supply lines and dismantle the Native American alliance with the British by decimating their villages, crops, and resources. The challenges were immense, from shortages of supplies to the necessity of constructing roads and bridges to facilitate their advance. But Sullivan's leadership and the determination of his troops kept them on course. They were ready to face the odds, to brave the wilderness, and to fight for the cause they believed in. With the force assembled, Sullivan was ready to march northward. The journey was far from easy. The wilderness was hostile, and the troops faced numerous logistical challenges. These opening words set the stage for the grand march that was about to commence. Major General John Sullivan, leading this procession of over 4,000 souls, found himself staring down the barrel of a daunting task. This task was to penetrate deep into enemy territory through rugged wilderness and hostile terrain. This was no ordinary march. It was a strategic move, a chess piece in the larger game of war. The expeditionary force made its way along the Susquehanna River Valley, the heartland of the Seneca and Cayuga nations. It was a journey that demanded the utmost resilience and determination, one that tested the mettle of every soldier under Sullivan's command. The logistical challenges they faced were no less daunting. Shortages of supplies threatened to stall their progress, and the rugged terrain demanded the construction of roads and bridges. It was a test of endurance, a testament to the human will to survive and overcome. But Sullivan's forces were not deterred. They pressed on, each step a declaration of their resolve, each mile a testament to their unyielding spirit. They built bridges where there were none, carved paths where there seemed to be no way. They trudged through the wilderness, their determination unwavering, their spirits unbroken. Yet the march was more than just a physical journey. It was a psychological battle, a continual fight against fear, uncertainty, and doubt. The looming threat of Loyalist and Native American forces, the constant risk of disease and desertion, the relentless strain of the march. All these factors conspired to test the troops' resolve, but they persevered. They pressed on, their spirits buoyed by the promise of victory, their resolve strengthened by the knowledge that they were part of something greater than themselves. They marched on, not just as soldiers, but as patriots, fighting for a cause they believed in. But despite the hardships, Sullivan's forces stayed the course. Their journey was a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human will, a testament to the determination and resilience that defined the American Revolutionary War. The heartland of the Seneca and Cayuga nations lay ahead, and with it, the objective of the campaign. The American forces, led by Major General John Sullivan, had a chilling task at hand: the systematic destruction of over 40 Native American villages. This was not a mission of conquest, it was a mission of devastation. The villages, once bustling with life, were reduced to ashes. Crops that had been carefully nurtured were trampled and burned. Orchards, the pride and joy of these communities, were uprooted. Livestock, a vital source of sustenance, was slaughtered. The once vibrant heartland of the Seneca and Cayuga nations was transformed into a desolate wasteland, a testament to the ruthlessness of war. This was not an indiscriminate act of violence. It was a calculated move designed to dismantle the Native American alliance with the British. By destroying their villages and resources, Sullivan aimed to weaken the Iroquois Confederacy's ability to sustain themselves, thereby undermining their support for the British cause. The impact on the Native American communities was profound. Many were forced to flee their homes, abandoning the land that had been passed down through generations. Others sought refuge with the British, hoping to find protection from the relentless onslaught. Yet, even amidst the chaos and destruction, the spirit of resistance lingered. The Iroquois Confederacy was down, but not out. The magnitude of the devastation was a stark reminder of the brutal realities of war. It was a testament to the lengths to which men would go to secure victory, even if it meant destroying the very thing they were fighting for: freedom. Yet, for Sullivan and his men, this was a necessary evil. They believed that by depriving the enemy of resources and demoralizing their supporters, they could weaken their resistance and pave the way for an American victory. The devastation was immense, but the campaign was far from over. The American forces had achieved their objective, but at a heavy cost. The scars of war were etched deep into the land and the hearts of its people. As the smoke cleared, one thing was clear: the Sullivan expedition had forever changed the course of the American Revolutionary War. As Sullivan's forces pushed forward, they faced constant threats that tested their resilience. The journey through the wilderness was fraught with danger. Loyalist and Native American forces, far from being passive targets, were active threats. They were familiar with the terrain, and they used this to their advantage. Engaging in guerrilla warfare tactics, they harassed Sullivan's forces, launching surprise attacks and then melting back into the wilderness. The American forces were fighting an enemy they couldn't see, an enemy that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. This was not a conventional war. It was a war of attrition, a war of endurance. But the threats didn't just come from outside. Within Sullivan's ranks, disease was a silent enemy that took its toll. In the close quarters of the camp, contagion spread easily. Fever, dysentery, and other ailments weakened the soldiers, sapping their strength and reducing their fighting capabilities. Each day was a battle against not just the enemy forces, but also against their own bodies. Desertion was another internal challenge. Some soldiers, faced with the harsh realities of the campaign, chose to abandon their posts. The wilderness was unforgiving. The enemy was elusive. The conditions were brutal. Morale was a constant struggle. How do you keep men motivated in the face of such adversity? Sullivan had to manage these challenges while keeping his forces moving forward, while keeping the objective in sight. The odds seemed stacked against them. The wilderness was a hostile environment. The enemy was relentless. Disease was rampant. Desertion was a constant threat. Yet Sullivan's forces persevered. They pushed through the challenges, through the pain, through the uncertainty. They held the line. They kept moving forward. They achieved what they set out to do. They disrupted the British supply lines. They dismantled the Native American alliance with the British. They destroyed their villages, their crops, their resources. Despite the odds, Sullivan's forces stood firm, achieving their military objectives. Victory often comes at a price, and the Sullivan expedition was no exception. In the aftermath of this monumental campaign, the landscape of upstate New York was irrevocably changed. The Iroquois Confederacy, once a formidable power, was dealt a severe blow. Its member nations, particularly the Seneca and Cayuga, were left reeling from the extensive destruction of their villages and resources. These communities faced significant losses, forced to flee their ancestral lands or seek refuge with the British. The Sullivan expedition had achieved its military objectives, disrupting British operations in the region. The scorched earth tactics had effectively neutralized the threat posed by the Iroquois Confederacy to the American control of upstate New York. The campaign had also successfully undermined the Native American alliance with the British, leaving them without a significant ally in the region. However, the widespread destruction came with its fair share of controversy. Critics of the campaign accused Major General John Sullivan and his forces of violating the principles of just warfare. They argued that the systematic devastation of Native American villages, crops, and resources constituted indiscriminate violence against civilian populations. These ethical questions continue to reverberate in historical assessments of the Sullivan expedition. The campaign, while successful in its military objectives, raised complex issues about the use of violence and the treatment of civilians in wartime. It sparked a debate that extends beyond the confines of the American Revolutionary War, touching upon broader themes of conflict, morality, and the human cost of victory. In the grand scheme of the Revolutionary War, the Sullivan expedition marked a turning point in the Northern Theater. It paved the way for future American offensives in the region, shaping the course of the war and, by extension, the trajectory of American history. The Sullivan expedition, a campaign of devastation and victory, left an indelible mark on the American Revolutionary War. Its legacy, fraught with triumph and controversy, continues to be a subject of scrutiny and discussion among scholars, historians, and enthusiasts alike.